Welcome back to Crime, the channel where true crime lives. If this is your first time here, welcome. We take deep, unflinching looks at the darkest minds and the most chilling mysteries in criminal history. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. Today, we're going back to one of the most infamous, terrifying, and unsolved murder cases in American history, the Zodiac Killer. This is not just a story of a killer. This is the story of a man who turned murder into a game. A man who used fear as his signature and the media as his microphone. A man who may have killed dozens and was never brought to justice. Let's go back to Northern California, late 1968. The cities of Vallejo, Benicia, Napa, and San Francisco were peaceful, middle-class communities. But as 1968 came to a close, a night on a remote lover's lane would mark the beginning of a reign of terror that still haunts the nation today. December 20th, 1968. It was cold and dark along Lake Herman Road. 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen were on their first date. They parked along the road just to talk. Maybe kiss, maybe dream. But just after 11 p.m., another vehicle pulled up. A man stepped out. He approached with purpose. Within seconds, both teenagers were shot execution style. Betty Lou was found dead outside the car, shot 5 times in the back as she tried to flee. David was slumped in the front seat, shot once in the head at close range. There were no witnesses, no fingerprints, no suspects. For months, the crime remained unsolved, and people tried to move on. But then came July 4th, 1969, Independence Day. A second attack shattered any illusions of peace. That night, 22-year-old Darlene Ferrin and 19-year-old Michael Mageau were parked at Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. Car pulled up behind them. The driver got out, walked over with a flashlight and opened fire. Darlene was hit 9 times. She died shortly after. Michael survived despite being shot in the face, neck, and chest. His survival would prove critical. He described the shooter as a stocky white male, 25 to 30 years old, about 5 feet 8 inches with light brown, curly hair. But this time, the killer didn't disappear. About an hour after the shooting, a man called the Vallejo Police Department from a payphone. He said, quote, "I want to report a double murder. If you will go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, you'll find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." The call was traced to a phone booth just blocks from the police station. Police lifted fingerprints, but no match. And then the Zodiac revealed himself not with another killing, but with a letter. On August 1st, 1969, 3 nearly identical letters arrived at the San Francisco Chronicle, the Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald. Each was handwritten and signed with a strange symbol, a circle with a cross through it. The letters contained details about both murders that only the killer could have known. But what truly stunned the public was what came with the letters. A cipher. Each paper received a third of a 408-character cryptogram, a grid of strange symbols, letters, and shapes. The killer said it held his identity. He demanded they publish it or he would kill again. 2 amateur codebreakers, a schoolteacher and his wife, cracked the cipher. It read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." He claimed he was collecting souls for the afterlife. He ended the cipher by saying he would never reveal his name. So he had lied. And now he was just getting started. September 27th, 1969. Napa County. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were enjoying a peaceful day by Lake Berryessa. Warm weather, quiet water. Then, a man emerged from the trees. He wore a black executioner-style hood with sunglasses and a zodiac symbol sewn into the chest. He claimed to be an escaped convict and said he needed money and a car. Calmly, he tied both victims with pre-cut lengths of clothesline. Then, without hesitation, he pulled out a foot-long knife and stabbed them repeatedly. Brian was stabbed 6 times. Cecilia, 10. Afterward, the attacker walked to their car and, using a black marker, wrote this message on the door. Vallejo/12-20-68, 7-4-69/September 27-69, 6:30 by knife. Cecilia died 2 days later. Brian survived and gave police a chilling account. Once again, the killer called police to report his crime, this time speaking to the Napa County Sheriff's Office in the same calm, eerie tone. 2 weeks later, in San Francisco's upscale Presidio Heights, cab driver Paul Stein picked up a passenger headed to Washington and Maple Street. When they arrived, the passenger shot Paul in the head, took his wallet, keys, and a piece of his bloody shirt. 3 teenagers saw it happen and immediately called police. Officers arrived and spotted a man walking away from the scene, someone who matched the description. But due to a dispatcher error, they were looking for a black male suspect and let the man go. That man may have been the Zodiac Killer. The next day, a letter arrived at the Chronicle. Inside it was a piece of Paul Stein's shirt. The city was in a panic. After this, Zodiac's attacks seemed to stop, but the letters didn't. He claimed he'd kill again, said he'd target school buses, even included diagrams of bombs. He mocked police for failing to catch him. He gave himself a name, the Zodiac. One of his later ciphers, the Z340, was a 340-character code sent in 1969. It went unsolved for over 50 years. Then, in December 2020, a group of amateur cryptologists from the US, Australia, and Belgium finally cracked it. It read, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. No name, no leads, just more riddles." Over the decades, police investigated more than 2,500 suspects. One name stood out, Arthur Lee Allen. A Vallejo resident, Allen had been dishonorably discharged from the Navy and had a criminal record for child molestation. He wore a Zodiac brand watch with the same crosshair logo. Friends claimed he talked about killing people and taunting police. In 1971, his home was searched. Guns, knives, explosives, but nothing concrete. In the 90s, DNA from Zodiac's letters didn't match Allen's. He died in 1992, still a suspect, but never charged. In 2021, an independent group called the Casebreakers claimed the Zodiac was Gary Francis Post, a deceased Air Force veteran. They pointed to facial scars matching sketches, cryptic writings, and alleged DNA links. But the FBI and local police dismissed the claim. The evidence was circumstantial. The case remains unsolved. So we're left with questions. How did someone commit 5 confirmed murders, possibly dozens more, write taunting letters, send cryptograms, and just vanish? Was the Zodiac a lone genius? A man with inside knowledge? Or did he simply stop and live out a quiet life? Was it all the work of one man? Or more? Theories have ranged from cults and copycats to government conspiracies. But so far, no hard proof. Even today, armchair detectives pore over the case. They analyze ciphers, compare handwriting, study facial composites, hoping to find something, anything the original investigators might have missed. Maybe one day they will.